HBO has come out with the trailer for the first Game of Thrones prequel, spin-off, whatever you want to call it. It's a prequel. It's about the Targaryen dynasty. And let's talk about it. But before we talk about this, let's just talk about everybody's move right now. All these platforms, their move into the streaming world. As we know, they're all coming against Netflix. They're coming for Netflix's coin. And we now know, the best way to do that is to come out with as many familiar shows as possible. In fact, Disney built its name off of folklore, making movies out of folklore, familiar stories. And that's really the way to go. So the HBO has spent all these years with a television network where they created some amazing shows. So the best thing to do is revamp these shows. They're doing it with Sex and the City. They're doing it with House of Dragon. Game of Thrones is probably the most successful TV show of all time. It really changed the shape of television and pioneered the golden television era. We're in the golden era of television. It pioneered it. And HBO pioneered it generally, even with Rome. And I'm wondering if they're going to come out with a revamp of Rome. That would be really smart. But anyway, let's watch this trailer. I mean, I've seen it already, but let me watch it for here because obviously I'm a massive Game of Thrones fan. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. It really pushes this video out in the algorithm and encourages me to make more videos. This video is brought to you by Brand Video Pros Members Lab, an online course that helps brands and influencers scale their influence in sales. Now let's begin. 200 years before the fall of the throne. The fall of the throne is probably Robert Targaryen taking over the throne. So the fall, when the Targaryens lost power of the throne. So
gods, kings.
I just want to stop right here, and I think it's very interesting that they've chosen this time period, and because they're going to want to use a lot of the tools that they had in the original show Game of Thrones. But at the same time, if this is 200 years before Robert Baratheon's rule, then we're talking about the technology has to be 200 years, behind. And so what does that mean with the art direction for the whole show? Because actually, when you think about Game of Thrones, it was quite technologically advanced for like the medieval times. The way, when you think about the real medieval times and all these gadgets that they would have, you would think, oh, that's a cool technological thing that you have. So thinking about what the technology is going to look like 200 years prior, I'm sure the art director really had to think about that and design that in interesting ways. Let's keep going.
Fire. And blood.
Ooh, that looks like a dragon skeleton. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, the fashion hasn't really changed. Why hasn't the fashion changed? If it's 200 years prior, the fashion should have changed. The fashion should have changed.
Dreams didn't make us kings. Dragons did.
Dreams didn't make us kings, dragons did. Well, they're in the throne room. It's the same throne room. Why does the throne room look exactly the same? Why isn't it? I just would like to see maybe like the flooring should be wooden or something. It shouldn't be the exact same thing. This is 200 years prior, right? This is the first thing I'm thinking about. Oof, I'm so excited about this. January 1st. Man, it's so exciting. I'm a massive Game of Thrones fan. I'm probably gonna watch it, Game of Thrones again. The amount of probably watched the whole series maybe 6 or 7 times. And the other 2 times it's like I was around when other people were watching it, but I've watched the show a lot. And I'm such a big fan of Game of Thrones, and I love the way it revolutionized television and storytelling too. And I'm excited to see what they've done with this. It's George R.R. Martin. I don't think they're gonna do any wrong because they have the writer, developing it with them. And I just hope these showrunners do not betray us. I'm sorry. I'm not coming for Dave and Dan. Let's just talk about that really briefly, what they did with the end of Game of Thrones. I mean, I just felt as though, George R.R. Martin said he said it, that they could have gone on for 15 seasons. And I understand that's extensive. And these guys wanted a life. But I think it's so important that if you're not able to execute, pass the torch. Somebody else. You had the whole team that was working on Game of Thrones originally. Work with them. Pass it on to somebody else to finish the show properly. People just didn't like the way the show ended, and it was difficult. It was a difficult ending. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on Game of Thrones, a new trailer. I'm like, I don't even know how to express how excited I am. I'm just extremely excited. I'm overwhelmed. There's not, like, it's been 2 years. Wow. Since the show ended, and like, what do you do? What do? You just wait for the new one. And so January 1st, I will be there watching. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on it. Please let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. All the above. My name is Kenim, and see you next time. A peace.